Good evening, I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Andrew is away tonight. Planning domestic travel by plane, train, or ship. You will need a vaccination for that.
I think it's a great idea. I don't want to get sick.
Plus, federal employees will need to make a vaccination promise. But what about proof? Also tonight, brace yourself for that trip to the gas pump.
It's going to be $1.60, and I'm pretty sure that's a record in that province. For young people, it's nuts.
Why prices are so high. Historic breakthrough, the first vaccine against another relentless enemy.
A glimmer of hope for the continent.
And when climate change and housing collide.
It's not just a question of property values. There's a hazard to people's lives.
New demands for accountability. This is The National. More than 4 million Canadians who are eligible to get vaccinated against COVID-19 still haven't received a single shot. And by the end of the month, that could have new major consequences in this country, specifically for two groups of people, many federal public servants and travelers, including anyone wanting to fly domestically. Ashley Burke lays out the timelines for when everyone will have to prove they're fully vaccinated and what will happen if they're not.
Soon, if you want to book a flight, you'll also have to prove you've rolled up your sleeve. New restrictions will limit who can board planes.
By the end of October, everyone 12 or older on a plane or train within Canada should be fully vaccinated.
It's a promise the Liberals fiercely campaigned on.
The most important thing that I heard from people is they wanted us to finish the fight against COVID, and there was very strong support for vaccine mandates.
The mandate includes showing proof of vaccination before boarding a plane, train, or cruise ship. But there will be a grace period. Those still in the process of getting their shots can show a negative COVID-19 test until the end of November.
Every single traveler will know that they will be sitting in the plane or in the train or on a ship next to somebody who is also vaccinated. So with this, I'm hoping that it will give people confidence to travel again.
It will be up to rail companies, cruise lines, and air carriers to verify and turn the unvaccinated away.
I think so. It's good. Like everyone should be vaccinated. So every other one is safe because of that.
Like you have to show ID anyways. It's just another piece of information you're also showing.
It would be easier to have some kind of electronic passport.
Airlines think so too.
We need very rapidly, as a priority, to see from the federal government a standardized proof of vaccination and a digital form of proof of vaccination for air travel.
Ottawa says it's working on a standardized system with provinces and territories which control vaccination data. Airport staff, including at restaurants and shop workers, must be double dosed too, along with rail and cruise ship workers.
Let's be clear. There will only be a few extremely narrow exceptions, like a valid medical condition.
So, Ashley, the government also announced a vaccine mandate for federal government employees. So how will that work?
Well, Adrienne, more than 250,000 federal workers will have to self-declare that they are fully vaccinated by the end of the month. If not, they will be placed on leave without pay, unless there's a valid religious or medical reason, and they will qualify for EI. The government said that it will be verifying those attestations, and lying could cost people their job.
All right, Ashley Burke in Ottawa. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
The Prime Minister's focus may have been vaccine mandates for travel, but he also faced questions about the timing of a recent trip of his own to Tofino last week. David Cochran looks at how he answered.
A moment of reckoning for skipping a day of reflection.
Traveling on September 30th was a mistake, and I regret it.
An apology, but no explanation, no rationale for why he took a vacation on a day devoted to reconciliation, on a holiday that he created as Prime Minister.
The how it happened is far less important than that it happened, which I regret, and we will continue to do even more on the path of reconciliation.
But as Trudeau tried to clean up his controversy, he was confronted with yet another one from the military.
They simply still don't get it. We have an awful lot of work to do.
The latest, the now rescinded appointment of Major General Peter Daw to review the findings of an external review into military sexual misconduct. This after Daw had previously been disciplined for providing a character reference for a soldier convicted of sexual assault.
There is a systemic problem with the treatment of women, the treatment of sexual harassment in the Canadian Armed Forces. It is clear that there is a toxic culture there.
Tough words, but ones this government has repeated many times while repeatedly standing by Defence Minister Harjit Sajjan as a series of scandals engulfed the military leadership and cries for change grew louder.
We will be naming our cabinet later this month, and the reflection that goes into every single job in cabinet is who is the right person to serve Canadians.
To this point, Trudeau has said Harjit Sajjan is the right person for defence, but there is a growing sense that could change, as Liberal insiders expect a new defence minister when the new cabinet is announced. David Cochrane, CBC News, Ottawa.
A judicial recount has given the Quebec riding of Châteauguay-Lacolle to the Liberal Party. Incumbent MP Brenda Shanahan will hold on to her seat after a recount showed she won the riding by just 12 votes. Initial results had the Bloc Québécois Patrick O'Hara winning, but a potential anomaly with a single ballot box led to a recount. The Northwest Territories is fighting a surge in COVID-19 cases. On a per capita basis, its rate of infection is more than 7 times higher than the national average. There are currently 829 active cases per 100,000 people in the Northwest Territories. In Alberta, which has the highest total case count, that number is 439. And the most recent daily report from the Territory, another 55 cases today. Juanita Taylor brings us the latest from Yellowknife.
A territory under pressure as COVID-19 cases continue to climb in the Northwest Territories.
It is very serious. It's the worst outbreak that we've had in the Northwest Territories.
And that has all 6 beds in the ICU at the Territory's largest hospital, full of patients fighting COVID-19.
We have not started to plateau yet. We are still picking up cases and worrying about our response to that. Obviously, it's stretching us as far as we can go.
Public health orders have been reinstated in Yellowknife and nearby communities. No visiting in other people's homes and limits on the number of people in shops and restaurants. Schools have been moved to online learning. This mom of 4 is feeling the pressure.
I am nervous about my children catching it, and I'm nervous about Delta just because it seems to be striking differently.
Most of the hospitalizations are unvaccinated people. 6 people have died, all Indigenous, some elders.
It really is sad because we know how much people value the knowledge keepers in the N.W.T, and to lose them to this disease is really heartbreaking.
This senior's home has 4 confirmed cases. Outside of Yellowknife, this tight-knit Indigenous community of Betchocon is hardest hit.
You're just going to assume everybody is, affected.
The chief public health officer took the extraordinary step to close off the community. Anyone going in must prove they're vaccinated or show a recent negative COVID test.
It's mentally and emotionally draining. We're confined, It'd be nice if the people start listening and taking this serious.
The Canadian Red Cross has sent in at least a dozen nurses and a couple doctors to help. It's also sent in staff to assist at a homeless shelter. Juanita Taylor, CBC News, Yellowknife.
Alberta's healthcare system, stretched to its limits by COVID-19, is now getting help from the Canadian Armed Forces. 8 military critical care nurses started work today at an Edmonton hospital. They are expected to stay until the end of the month. The Red Cross is also planning to send in a team, and Newfoundland and Labrador has offered more help. This comes as Canadian medical leaders warned today that healthcare workers are exhausted and burnout is higher than it's ever been.
There is a pervasive sense of hopelessness driven by a broken system, not by a lack of individual resiliency.
The Canadian Medical and Nurses Association say governments of all levels need to act now to address burnout, chronic understaffing, and the need for mental health supports for healthcare workers. Nova Scotia's squeezed healthcare system is being felt far from COVID. The demand for medical assistance in dying has never been higher, but the province has put a pause on new referrals. Kayla Hounsell shows us why even a short delay can have a big impact on patients.
This was shortly after we first met.
Susan Cook is able to focus on happy memories of life with her husband, Tony, because of the way he died.
It was a beautiful way to go. It really was. He was at peace.
After a lengthy battle with brain cancer, Tony chose medical assistance in dying. It became legal in Canada in 2016, but as of last week, new requests won't be an option in Nova Scotia for 30 days.
It would be unethical for me to offer a service to somebody that I couldn't provide them.
The clinical lead for the MAID program says he paused new referrals to clear the backlog of several dozen people already waiting. He also says he could use more resources.
We don't hire MAID physicians or MAID nurse practitioners. These people are all professionals who have full-time jobs, most of them, who do MAID assessments and provisions in their off time.
In Nova Scotia, demand has increased more than tenfold since MAID was legalized. It's partially because in March, the law changed such that more people are now eligible. There are also extra pressures on the system due to the pandemic, all of it forcing the pause.
30 days is a very, very long time for people who are at the end of their life.
This advocate says she understands the province's decision, but is still concerned.
In a couple of cases that I've seen, it wouldn't have worked at all because the person would have become incompetent before they could make the request. And once you're incompetent, you can't make the request.
And that's the model boat that he built.
Susan Cook is grateful her husband didn't have to wait.
He was counting the days, so for him to have to wait for another month or so, it would have been a really terrible thing.
She hopes health officials catch up quickly so others aren't robbed of the peaceful death her husband chose. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
The World Health Organization has, for the first time, approved a vaccine against the monster that is malaria. A major breakthrough in the global fight against a disease that last century may have killed 250 million people. Christine Birak has the details.
It's a vaccine more than 100 years in the making.
Today, WHO is recommending the broad use of the world's first malaria vaccine.
The World Health Organization called this an historic day, saying the groundbreaking vaccine could save tens of thousands of young lives every year. Malaria killed roughly 400,000 people in 2019, mostly in sub-Saharan Africa, and more than half the dead were children under 5. Spread through mosquitoes infected with malaria, one bite can take the life of a healthy child within weeks.
Today's recommendation therefore offers a glimmer of hope for the continent.
The vaccine is called RTSS. Made by GSK, it was shown to be effective 6 years ago, but the WHO wasn't convinced. The vaccine required 4 doses given to babies in Africa in their first 18 months of life. Now, 2.3 million doses later, 3 pilot programs have shown the vaccine was safe, cost-effective, and able to prevent 4 in 10 cases of malaria. Not nearly as effective as COVID vaccines developed in less than a year, but experts say there's a good reason why.
It's a bit different making a vaccine against a parasite than a virus.
Malaria is not caused by a virus, but a complex parasite that reproduces by destroying our cells. And it doesn't just escape our immune system, but transforms itself inside our body. The RTSS vaccine targets an early form of the parasite to try and stop it.
It's not a perfect vaccine, that's for sure. But at a population level, it really could help.
A second-generation malaria vaccine is also in the works. Still in phase 2 trials, early results show it's even more effective. But infectious disease experts say lives are at stake now, and they're hoping more African countries will roll out this current vaccine as quickly as possible. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
Turning to Afghanistan now, and warnings of a humanitarian catastrophe just weeks after the Taliban takeover.
The consequences have just been devastating. The economy is on the brink of collapse here in Afghanistan.
The UN says the situation is made worse by the freezing of foreign reserves and suspension of development programs. Today, the charity Save the Children warned Afghanistan's health system could collapse, putting at risk the lives of millions of malnourished children. CBC News is back in Afghanistan, the first Canadian broadcaster to return since the international withdrawal. Susan Ormiston is seeing that worsening humanitarian crisis firsthand. She starts her story tonight with the haunting faces of those just trying to live through it.
This is what hunger looks like. Malnourished infants, a common curse in Afghanistan, but now worse. Nasima's twins are 1 year old. The littlest one weighs in at just over 8 pounds. Really suffering. Her mother is weak herself. She can't make enough breast milk to feed both. And she tells us she can't afford formula. Almost 3 months without enough food, and since the Taliban came, no work. I have to do something for them, but I don't know what to do. Starvation lurks as families emerge from the last months of war and stare into uncertain futures. This 3-year-old made it through tuberculosis, but it weakened him. His mom, Nargis, can't find enough food for 8 kids when her husband sells corn cobs and makes less than $1 a day. Dr. Nulhak Yousafzai says these mothers come from outside Kabul because in the provinces, clinics and hospitals are collapsing. Supported by foreign funds, their budgets were frozen or cut when the Taliban came to power.
International community should help us like before. If they want to punish the government, this is the not right way. Now this punishment is for our people, for our children, for our women.
A battle for survival caught up in geopolitics. At another site in Kabul, staving off hunger, heads of families arrive early to hold a place in line, their monthly ration critical. Men separated from women, each with multiple mouths at home. This is one of hundreds of food drops in the country organized by the World Food Program. Each is registered, given a food card, carefully checked to avoid hoarding or doubling up.
Who is this?
Back of the line, women crowd around us with their stories, asking for help. Bibiko lost her husband, now alone with 6 kids. The stress of the last few months is piercing. Poverty is predicted to grip 97% of Afghans by next year. These lines are getting longer. There'll be 1,000 come here today, maybe another 600 tomorrow. The World Food Program is struggling to keep up with the demand, especially as winter is coming.
I mean, I've been with WFP for a long time. I've never seen a situation deteriorate so quickly as it is. You know, it was already bad before August, but now it's just in free fall.
A sack of flour, a bag of beans, some cooking oil, which is doubled in price, one delivery to last a month. Aid agencies are issuing urgent appeals to separate out the aid from the politics. Without help, this battle for survival risks boiling up, complicating any prospects for stability. And still, the exodus from this country continues. Tonight, 53 more Afghan Canadians departed from Kabul on a Qatari flight, bound ultimately for Canada, along with several hundred other evacuees. The Qataris are negotiating these irregular evacuation flights with the Taliban. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Kabul.
The dire situation in Afghanistan is also being watched closely by Canadians who served in that country.
It's kind of like ripping a big scab off of a wound that never quite healed.
Ahead tonight, 2 veterans on what they're seeing unfold and a war that changed them forever. What keeps driving up gas prices across Canada?
They're not spot. It's going to be $1.60, and I'm pretty sure that's a record in that province.
And why the holidays could taste a little different for the Brits this year.
Without those workers in the packing stations, there is no Christmas.
We are back in 2. Welcome back. Canadians are being warned to brace themselves at the pumps, with gas prices nearing record highs in places and not much relief in sight. Peter Armstrong looks at what is behind the spike and how a global energy crisis is unfolding.
If you're looking for nuance over the rising price of gasoline, these pumps in St. John's are probably not the best place to start.
They're not spot. It's going to be $1.60, and I'm pretty sure that's a record in that province. And I don't know, for young people, it's nuts.
Gas price, it's crazy. It's not good for delivery drivers.
Frustrating though it is, this is evidence of an economy bouncing back, that people are driving and flying again. When the price of oil hits these levels, producers usually pump more, and that brings down the price. Not now, not after the dismal year producers just had.
The investor community has essentially been saying, don't you dare invest another dollar into production, sit back, enjoy the wildly high prices while you have them, and finally give us some of our money back.
Canada's surge in oil and gas may leave consumers upset, but it doesn't hold a candle to the unfolding energy crisis in Europe and Asia. In China, coal production fell last year and hasn't caught up. As much as 44% of China's industrial activity's already been hit by power shortages. This one makes do with a generator for now. If this goes on much longer, he says, we won't survive. Beijing has ordered energy companies to secure supplies for this winter at all costs. Meanwhile, in Europe, power bills have tripled in some regions this year as natural gas prices have hit record levels. This man says the poor are getting hit the hardest. No one puts on the heating, he says, because everyone knows they won't be able to pay for it. There's no simple fix, and winter is coming. Whether it's coal in China, gas in Europe, or oil in North America, this last year has wreaked havoc on supply. Now, as demand turns, the havoc is shifting to prices with very real impacts at every turn. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
In Britain, COVID supply problems have been made worse, even worse, by another issue, a labor shortage caused by Brexit. It is so severe the food chain is now being affected all the way down to the farm. That's where we sent Chris Brown.
Britain's supply chain crisis has its food producers crying foul.
These are actually going to be our 10-kilo turkeys at Christmas. These are going to be the big boys.
Paul Kelly has 57,000 birds here in his farm, but he says a shortage of workers who usually come from Europe to harvest and pluck the turkeys has thrown the industry into crisis.
Without those workers in the packing stations, there is no Christmas. There's no Christmas, they can't be packed.
When Britain formally left the EU 9 months ago, a lot of temporary workers went back home to Europe. It's been so bad for the trucking industry, there haven't been enough drivers to bring fuel to British gas stations, causing huge lineups. This week, military drivers had to be called out to make the deliveries.
The labour shortage for us, I mean, it's 100% Brexit. It can only be that. Last Christmas was fine.
Britain's supply chain crisis now extends far beyond turkeys to across the agricultural sector and to the people who prepare their products. Britain's meat producers say some pig farmers are now having to slaughter their animals in the barn because they're running out of space and there aren't enough workers to butcher them. Indeed, Britain may need as many as 25,000 butchers, and there are no easy solutions to recruit and train them.
The problem is, we'll get someone, train them up for 6 months, and it does take a lot of time, to train these people up. Then all of a sudden they got to go back home.
In a major speech, Boris Johnson downplayed the crisis and rejected major changes.
And the answer to the present stresses and strains, which are mainly a function of growth and economic revival, is not to reach for that same old lever of uncontrolled immigration.
Everyone's going to have to get their heads down and hope for the best, really. But I think this it's going to, as I say, it's going to be quite a painful 2 or 3 months.
For Britons, some of their tasty Christmas traditions may be in jeopardy. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
Queen Elizabeth returned to the public eye today as she met with a group of Canadian artillery soldiers who have assumed the Queen's Guard at Windsor Castle.
General James, so who knows?
The Queen wore her maple leaf brooch while greeting members of the Royal Regiment of Canadian Artillery. It is the first time the regiment is undertaking public duties in the UK. They were invited to form the Guard for the 150th anniversary of the regiment's founding. Hundreds of thousands of homes across this country might be at risk, and homeowners may not even realize it.
It's not just a question of property values. There's a hazard to people's lives.
Ahead tonight, what you need to know before you buy. But first, we will take you to the Greek border, where one man is determined to restore dignity to the many migrants who did not make it.
I thought it was Jill at first. Then I heard police. Then I heard on my phone somebody got shot.
A Texas high school went into lockdown this morning after a shooting left 4 people injured, including a 15-year-old in critical condition. Police say an 18-year-old suspect allegedly got into a fight before drawing a weapon. And that is crude oil gushing from a giant storage tank at the second largest refinery in the U.S. today. The huge spill forced road closures in the area, but officials say it has now been contained.
Concentration of effort right now is a robust effort on our beaches with workforce. This is a lot of manual labor.
And a massive cleanup effort continues along the California coast after an offshore oil rig leaked more than 570,000 liters of heavy crude over the weekend. A preliminary report suggests a ship's anchor may have caused the spill after it hooked, dragged, and then tore open an underwater pipeline. We showed you earlier the devastating conditions in Afghanistan. Many of its refugees are now making their way towards Greece. But as Greece fortifies its borders, aid groups warn of human rights abuses. More misery for those fleeing misery. Well, tonight, we look at a migrant route where it can be hard to help both the living and the dead. Here's Margaret Evans.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
A prayer for the nameless dead. Souls that once burned bright in the belief they could find a better life, now on the ground in a migrant's graveyard in northern Greece. They're cared for by Mehmet Sharif Damadolu, the Mufti of Sidiro, a minority Turkish-speaking village where he also manages the local gas station. Humans have dignity when they're alive, he says. It doesn't disappear upon death. It seems a lonely vigil, but the Mufti is not alone in his willingness to cross paths with the dead. Greek coroner Pavlos Pavlidis sifts through a catalogue of the dead, at least of their belongings. Each numbered envelope holds a potential link to those looking for the missing, a touchstone, a ring or a watch, a mobile phone covered in mud.
It's very important, these personal belongings, especially personal belongings with metals better.
Because they last.
Yes, because keeping the water.
Pavlidis and his small team work in the basement of a teaching hospital in Alexandroupolis, close to the border with Turkey. Most of his cases involve those who die trying to cross it. 36 this year alone, 500 over the course of a 20-year career.
Every year the number is bigger. This is a problem.
Relations between Greece and neighboring Turkey are already steeped in long seasons of distrust. Much of its length is a closed military zone. The Evros River tends to mark the geographical border between Greece and Turkey. And last month, Greece finished the latest section of a wall or fence they've been building along the border. Greek ministers here will tell you that what's happening in Afghanistan makes it all the more imperative to have it. Locals living nearby will tell you the same. Fisherman Alexandros Adalis says Greece can't be left to deal with more migrants on its own. I feel for them, he says, but on the other hand, Greece can't sustain them all. Last year, in a dispute with the EU, the Turkish president Recep Tayyip Erdogan opened his side of the border, encouraging migrants to head to Greece. Many people found themselves trapped between Turkish police pushing them forward and Greek security forces pushing them back.
They take our shoes, our pants.
At the time, these Afghan men told CBC News that Greek police had stripped them of their belongings before sending them back across the river. Adela says he and others helped form a kind of citizens' defense, a flotilla, at the request of Greek authorities. Back then, we gathered on the border in the middle of the river to be able to push back the invasion, he said, because it was clearly an invasion from the other side, from Erdogan. Human rights groups have long accused Greece of pushbacks, both along the land border as well as at sea. The government in Athens denies the allegations, but that the country has moved to toughen its migration policies is not in doubt.
They are heavily oriented towards deterrence, preventing people from entering the country as much as possible.
The 40-kilometer-long border wall in Evros is one manifestation of that policy. Plans to build closed migrant holding centers on Greek islands is another.
If nobody sees them, then nobody remembers that they're there, so we don't really have to talk about migration, because that's the other angle that this government very much pursues. They would like to stop talking about migration, as most of the EU, to be fair.
It's not something Pavlos Pavlidis will stop seeing. He's already had to ask the Red Cross for a second refrigeration unit in addition to the one already sitting outside his office. He's not convinced the new wall will stop people from trying to get around it.
The land border, it's about 200 kilometers. 200 kilometers, it's very long destination. For me, it's difficult with a fence to stop the refugees.
And he'll keep trying to restore the identities of those who die along the way.
It's my work. It's my work. It's ethical for me to give the answer. It's not good answer. It's not good answer, but it's answer.
There is too in the hilltop graveyard a place to visit if need be for those who mourn. Perhaps some comfort that in the end at least, there were those determined not to ignore the last journeys of the desperate on this earth and to mark their place. Margaret Evans, CBC News, Northern Greece.
Next, Canadians who served in Afghanistan reflect on what is unfolding in that country now.
All the soldiers that lost their lives and their careers and their dignity, for what, really?
We'll hear from two veterans about the lasting legacy of the war. But first, some good news about a story we shared with you last night about Zora, Afghanistan's first all-women's orchestra, forced to scatter, some fleeing, some hiding when the Taliban took over. This is Zora at their peak in Davos a few years ago. A lot's changed. The Kabul school that was their refuge now swarmed by Taliban fighters, students afraid of being punished for their music. Dr. Ahmad Sarmast, who built and nurtured the school, has been in Australia for months, working to protect his students. Some managed to get out early, but look at this. In the last day or so, he secured a flight to Qatar for at least 100 students and teachers. Once paperwork is sorted, they'll head to Portugal, where Dr. Sarmast hopes to rebuild the school. Here's part of his video message to them. I'm happy that today you're all in a free and calm place and away from the tyranny of the Taliban, he says. Dr. Sarmast is still working to help the nearly 200 other students, teachers, and families get out. Dreaming their music will be heard again, just not for now in Afghanistan.
Can you keep the country safe?
I can assure you, he says, we'll improve security here. Everything will be resolved.
Well, how the world has changed. That was Susan Ormiston speaking face-to-face with a member of the Taliban on the streets of Kabul. Inconceivable just a few months ago. She and her team are bringing us stories from inside Afghanistan this week. More than 40,000 Canadians served in Afghanistan. 158 of them died. Tonight, on the eve of the 20th anniversary of the U.S. military mission, we hear from two Canadian veterans. What did they experience? How did it change their lives? And what do they think about what is happening now?
My name's Pat Molden. I live in Hamilton, Ontario. Retired from the military after 23 years. I was a master seaman, clearance diver in the Canadian Navy.
My name is Mark Campbell. I'm 55 years old and I live in Sturgeon County, Alberta. I was a major in the Canadian Armed Forces, so I served for 34 years in the infantry.
So I went to Afghanistan. I deployed in 09. I deployed as a explosive ordnance disposal technician. So we go over there, even though I was a Navy diver, I deployed with the Army unit as a specialist to deal with the improvised explosive device threat. Over there, I believed in our mission. I believed in, the career as a bomb tech. You have a very specific skill that is required in high demand over there. So I wasn't shy to get in there and help out. The military provided a good life for me and my family, and I wasn't about to not participate in something like that.
I served twice in Afghanistan. The first time in early 2002, I landed in Kandahar and had Afghan dust on my boots the 31st of January 2002, right after 9/11. So I was part of the first Canadian contingent sent to Afghanistan, where we performed combat operations, basically hunting and chasing the remnants of Al-Qaeda. So I was excited. This was the equivalent of the Super Bowl. And we saw ourselves as going over and doing good work, virtuous work.
Some of the specific things that have stayed with me as a result of the tour over there, it's just the level of man's inhumanity to man, really. I guess sort of can sum all that up. To really see it and experience it firsthand is shocking. It's scary and it's sad. It's really sad to see that they're willing to sacrifice their own women and children to fight the infidel at all costs.
The things that stay with me as a result of my service in Afghanistan are the people and their incredible resiliency. I'm talking about Afghan farmers in Kandahar province, tilling the same soil that their great-grandparents and their ancestors had worked that same soil. What stays with me is the opportunities that we provided them as a people to grow without the omnipresent threat of the war hanging over their heads.
Yeah, Afghanistan had a huge impact on me and my life. I came home and I was not the same. And basically, the nightmares have gotten not really better, but you just get used to them over time. But the sleep deprivation and the smell, the sensory, smelling things that trigger, bad memories and bad experiences over there, like for example, the blood smell from the meat section of the grocery store. That's one thing that I was passing through there with my wife and my son, and the butcher was just hacking through this big side of beef, and the noise and the blood spray that was on his smock, it just I just disassociated. I completely blacked out, and I was just standing there, and when I came to, I was soaked. I lost every ounce of fluid from my body, and that was the first time that I had realized that there was a bigger impact that it had on me than I was willing to admit.
I was seriously injured on my second tour in Afghanistan in 2008 when I was working with the Afghan National Army. The improvised explosive device that they used to blow me up was it was a personal affair. It basically had my name on it. It took my legs off above the knees, so I'm now confined to a wheelchair for the rest of my life. Them's the breaks. You take your chances, you roll the dice. I mean, it wouldn't be a war if nobody got hurt, right?
So when I see what's happening in Afghanistan now, as the coalition has withdrawn completely, it's kind of like ripping a big scab off of a wound that never quite healed. Like all the soldiers that lost their lives and their careers and their dignity, for what, really? It's hard to even really like imagine, how much I've sacrificed for nothing, you know, like we achieved nothing over there. That's a hard pill to swallow for sure, you know.
So it was no surprise to me that they capitulated. That was writing on the wall. It was inevitable. The speed with which it happened was alarming. And overall, of course, the situation was disappointing for people who had invested time, sweat, equity, blood in bettering Afghanistan as a country like I had.
And a reminder, our CBC News team on the ground in Afghanistan will have more special coverage in the days ahead. Watch for that right here on The National and at cbcnews.ca. But coming up after the break, the story of a new homeowner taken off guard.
Now my dreams are shattered. I don't know what to do.
Why many Canadians could be buying homes that come along with some unknown risks. We already know climate change is causing more natural disasters like flooding across Canada. Well, now a billion-dollar lawsuit in Ontario is shining a light on something that is raising homeowners' flood risk even further. It's urban sprawl. Katie Nicholson explains.
My vision was to demolish the house, extend it outside.
Shahid Mian bought this Oakville property to build his dream home. But then he found out it was on a floodplain, and his plans would never be approved.
So now my dreams are shattered. I don't know what to do.
Mian is one of 1,500 property owners who could be a part of a proposed class action lawsuit. It alleges the town of Oakville, surrounding municipalities, and the province permitted extensive residential and commercial development and redevelopment at an alarming rate. All on land that once absorbed rain and snow, putting properties downstream at risk of flooding and lowering their value. The lawsuit seeks $990 million in damages and demands action to mitigate flooding.
It's not just a question of property values. There's a hazard to people's lives.
Most of the defendants won't comment while the matter is before the courts, but a statement from the town of Oakville denies any act of wrongdoing. From coast to coast, it's an all too common but largely hidden problem.
About 500,000 homes and buildings across Canada are actually at risk of flooding, and yet there is no information, no publicly available maps that actually can tell the owners of those properties that that's the case.
The Canadian Institute for Climate Choices published this report this week. It's calling for more regulation and transparency.
What we're strongly recommending in our report is that governments make disclosure of climate risk mandatory in financial transactions where people could be buying into risk.
Mian, a realtor by trade, agrees.
I would have bought another property.
For now, his dream home is on hold while he waits to see if the courts will help. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Oakville, Ontario.
Still ahead, she just wanted a shot of the sunset, but she got so much more. The surprise visit that left a paddleboarder in awe. Next, in our moment. Well, there's a pretty good shot. That is a humpback whale off the coast of BC, the kind of picture professionals work hard for, but this one was all about luck. Because the woman behind the camera wasn't a professional, she was a paddleboarder out for a quiet night. A moment captured in a fleeting moment is our moment.
I usually go out and take a picture of the sunset, and that was my intent. I was kneeling to take the picture, and there was the whale. And then all of a sudden the whale was like right there. So it was amazing, and then gets your heart rate up for sure. Because I wasn't expecting it at all. It was amazing to me with all the paddling I've done here that I just went out for a quick sunset paddle. It makes me feel hopeful for the future, for our environment, to see this kind of resurgence in the Howe Sound with all the whales and the porpoises and the seals and the sea lions, seeing them all. So it gives me hope, and I have extreme gratitude to have had this special moment with the whale.
Hope, gratitude. I might have been a little bit afraid. She knows what she's talking about. She's been a kayak guide in the area for the better part of a decade, paddleboards all the time. That is a first. That is a national for October the 6th. Good night.